just start by talking about what high vibe food actually is. There are lots of fad diets that have emerged, that have come and gone, and high vibe food is not one of them. High vibe food is just food, the way it was produced by Mother Nature and the way that it was intended for us humans to consume and the way it was intended for us to thrive. So high vibe food consists of vegetables, fruits, nuts and seeds, superfoods, mushrooms, medicinal mushrooms, spices, herbs, algae. And what we do is we try not to process it too much so that it still has that life force intact. So the difference when something is high vibe versus low vibration is that high vibe food has enzymes in it. Enzymes are what helps us digest food, metabolize food, and absorb the nutrition. So enzymes also give us energy. So it's that life force that's inside the fruits and vegetables that when we eat them, we feel energized. So that's what food is actually meant to do. It's meant to give us energy. And if your food is making you tired, then it means that it doesn't have a lot of enzymes in it. And enzymes, they don't like to be heated up. So if we're processing food, we also lose enzymes. So that's why little process as possible. So that doesn't mean that you have to eat only raw food. But it's a good idea to have something raw with every meal so that we can really get that high vibe and those enzymes that will help you to digest the rest of the food as well. So when I say minimally processed, that doesn't mean just carrot sticks and celery sticks. There are so many things that you can make and still have the high vibration intact. Things that I'm going to teach you in this course, such as pizza, chocolate, pancakes, ice cream, cheese, butter, and really delicious dressing. I think that we live in a really cool time, and the challenge of nutritional disaster that we're going through is bringing some extraordinary opportunities. I believe that if we can put things right within ourselves, then we can put them right also on a greater perspective. We can't rely on anybody else to fix the problem. We have to fix it ourselves. And we've seen what happens when we turn our back from Mother Nature. So I believe that now it's the time to turn towards Mother Nature for the solution. So how do we get started? How do we transition to a high vibe diet? I think it's a good idea to do something called crowding out, which is what it means. What crowding out means is that you just add good things to your diet and don't worry so much about things that you need to stop eating. That will eventually get crowded out if you add good stuff to your daily routine. Alright, let's talk about sweeteners. So it's a really good idea to use a good quality sweetener, and it's very easy to let go of things like refined sugar because there are many alternatives that are really much better for you. So I want to talk about some alternatives, and I've organized them from the lowest vibration to the highest vibration. And so on the lowest end we have stevia drops. These are quite processed, although many like to use them because they don't register as sugar in the body. So it's good for people with diabetes. And so the thing with stevia is that it also has a bit of a bitter taste. It might be a good idea to use only a little bit and then combine it with another sweetener. And on the same kind of vibe, we have something called birch sugar, also goes by the name of xylitol, and it looks just like processed sugar. It's not the most high vibe unprocessed product, but it's said to be good for the teeth and also to kill parasites. I don't really like to use xylitol a lot, but some cases when I'm making something like a white chocolate, then it can be really helpful because the color of this sweetener is so bright and it won't make your chocolate look caramelly color. And then we have something called coconut sugar, which it comes from the coconut nectar, actually from the flowers of the coconut palm tree. And this is a really wonderful product, but it has been processed, it has been boiled a long time, and so it's not really ideal, but better than many other products. Then we have maple syrup, which you can find varying quality. It's really good if you can find a real maple syrup, which comes from the maple tree. Here we have coconut nectar, which is an amazing sweetener, and this comes from the flowers of the coconut palm tree, and it's just collected. It's a beautiful process, and you just use it the way it is, completely raw and full of enzymes and full of minerals. So this one is a really nice taste as well. It has a little bit of a caramelly flavor, and it has so many enzymes that sometimes when you use it, it will make things ferment. So if you're making something like fermented cucumbers or something like that, it will really help the process of fermentation. Then we come to dates, and of course very high vibe, very little processed, and it's really actually good for the liver. I really think dates is a good thing to add to your diet. It's warming for the liver, which is said to be very good for helping the liver to detox. Highest up on the spectrum, we have raw honey. So this is absolutely my favorite sweetener to use. It's something that comes from flowers, and it's a wild food. And actually honey is the one product in the world that has the most enzymes of anything that exists. It's antibacterial. You can use it both internally and externally as a medicine. And there are so many phytochemical compounds in this beautiful medicine. I think it's something of a miracle. I get quite a lot of criticism because I say that I am a vegan. Well, while I use this in the Alchemy restaurant. So I just think that we can have bees in a good way. We can contribute to the bee's life. We can grow flowers for them. We can put up beehives for them, and we can get honey in return. And it has nothing to do with exploitation. So honey has also been proven to be more effective than certain cough medicines. So it's a really good thing to use for any kind of respiratory cough problem. And also it's been shown to be more effective at treating skin disorders topically. So if you have any kind of, sometimes when antibiotic creams don't work, honey has been shown to actually be more effective. I find that super cool. So what I recommend is just to use the kind of sweetener that you find in your area, and also depending on what you're going to make. But there are plenty of options. You know, when we sleep, our body is detoxing. And so when we wake up in the morning, it's a really good idea to drink some water with citrus juice. And it can be either lemon juice or orange juice, lime juice. What happens when we add lemon juice to our water is that it becomes mineralized. So if you don't have the best kind of water that you're drinking, you can just add some lemon juice and that will remineralize it. That the lemon tree roots has been pulling out from the earth, and then it travels up into the lemon, and as you add that to your water, you get those minerals, and it's going to make your water become alive. And so when you drink that first thing in the morning, is that you're going to get all of those toxins flushed out. And I really like to have a detox routine that's happening daily instead of doing like once a year a big 3-week fast or something like that. I like to get it into my daily routine, that I'm getting rid of heavy metals and things like this, because I'm just supporting the liver. So what I do is I just make a really big batch of lemon juice, and then that's going to last me for about a week. And it's really great because I can use it in other things as well. I'm really excited about this recipe because what we're making now is a cruelty-free butter, and it's absolutely delicious and it's really easy to make. What I'm using is just 2 ingredients and a pinch of salt. So we're going to use 2 parts of extra virgin cold pressed coconut oil and 1 part of extra virgin olive oil. I'm going to make this amazing butter that's just using 2 ingredients. It's a really good replacement for dairy butter, and it's completely cruelty-free, so easy to make, and my kids love it, and I love it too. So what I'm doing is I'm using a metal bowl, and I'm pouring in the coconut oil and the olive oil, and just a pinch of salt, and then I'm going to mix that up. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to turn the timer on. I'm going to set the timer to 5 minutes. So now this goes in the freezer. I'm going to take this out and whisk it and put it back for another 5 minutes. Now that it looks like creamy and fluffy and emulsified, it's time for this beautiful butter to go into the refrigerator. So don't put it in the freezer. It's going to keep for a long time, and you just store it in the fridge, and it works just the same as regular butter. You know, I really like when things are effortless when it comes to upgrading your diet. And so anytime we have an opportunity to upgrade our ingredients, that is a form of crowding out. So for example, think about what kind of salt you're using. Generally, salt will have more minerals if there's a color in it. So you'll find colors like pink Himalayan salt or gray sea salt, for example. They are less processed and will have a lot of minerals. So it's just a very good thing to make sure that you're using good quality salt. Next, we are going to make nut milk. And so this is another thing that's really good to have as a staple in your refrigerator. We can use pumpkin seeds, almonds, sunflower seeds. Even actually you can use shredded coconut for making coconut milk. What we need to do is to sprout the seeds or the nuts before. So what that means is that we're going to put them in to soak in water. It depends on what you're using. Pumpkin seeds needs about 4 hours of soaking, and almonds need about 8 hours. The thing with nuts and seeds is that they contain something called enzyme inhibitor. It's also called an anti-nutrient. And what this does is it inhibits the seed from growing. It's like when it lies in this state before we soaked it, it's dormant. And when we put it into water, it's like we waken the seed up. Just imagine how brilliant Mother Nature works. So when it's winter time, the seed needs to be sleeping. And when springtime comes and the snow melts, the enzyme inhibitor is washed away and the seed wakes up, it becomes alive, and it gains so much more nutrition, and it's much easier to digest because we remove the enzyme inhibitors. And so another thing is that it also makes it easier to blend. If you're making anything like a nut cheese or something like that, you want the nuts to be blended really, really smooth. So another reason why it's good to soak nuts and seeds is also because they become more clean. So today I'm gonna make milk with pumpkin seeds. So these have been soaking now for 4 hours. And so I'm gonna throw away the water and rinse the nuts. It's really important not to use this water because this water has those anti-nutrients in it, which we don't want. And so we want to get rid of that water and even rinse the pumpkin seeds thoroughly to make sure that they're really clean. So the ratio is 1 cup of nuts or seeds to 3 cups of water. And you can use 4 cups of water if you want to have a little bit of a thinner milk. And for now, it's just those 2 ingredients. And it's important to blend for a good minute to get the oils to get extracted from the seeds. So next step is to strain the milk, and this is what is most commonly used for straining nut milk. It's called a nut milk bag. I don't really like to use this for nut milk because I find that it's a bit messy and a little bit hard to clean up afterwards. I prefer to use a fine mesh strainer, but it's important that it's fine mesh, otherwise you'll get a grainy milk. So what I'm doing now is just pouring everything through here. So what we're left with, this is called nut pulp, and we can use this as a flour. We can use it in cookies and pie crust, bread, pizza crust. So there are a couple of different ways to store it. Either you can store it in the freezer and you can use it, thaw it when you're ready to use it. I'm gonna try and press out as much liquid as possible because this is the most creamy part of the milk at the end here. So I want to get all of that good cream out. Now that the milk is ready, just pour it back in the blender and then we're going to add flavor. So it's quite a good idea not to add the flavor before you strain because otherwise your nut pulp would be sweet or whatever flavor you want to put. So now is the time to add the flavor. And I like to put vanilla, and vanilla beans are quite expensive, so it's something that I like to store just to make sure that they don't go moldy. I store them in the freezer. The thing is that when you put vanilla beans in the freezer, they keep forever. And also the good thing is that they don't really freeze. You just take them out and it just takes like a few seconds and they're ready to use. Vanilla bean comes from an orchid, and there are 36 different kinds of orchids, but there's only one kind of orchid that produces the vanilla bean, and it's just such a wonderful flavor to add to desserts and creams and milks. So you just score it like this, and then you open it up and you find all those beautiful seeds inside. And this is what we want to use. So I'm just going to I like to take the not sharp part of the knife and just scrape out all of those seeds. And this is very, very valuable. This goes in here. We're also going to add a little bit of sweetener, but that's completely optional. If you want to keep it non-sweet, that's fine. So I'm adding about a tablespoon of any kind of sweetener. This is honey, but you can use coconut sugar or coconut nectar or maple syrup. And you could also put chai spices, or you could put cacao powder. Just blend that up again. If I was going to drink this right now, I might put some ice, but I'm going to store this in the fridge, and so I'm just going to bottle it up. It almost has a little bit of a greenish white from the pumpkin seeds. And what we can do with this, now that we've used up all the seeds, this is still valuable and can bring a lot of flavor, so we can put this into maybe inside our coconut sugar to make like a vanilla scented coconut sugar, or we can put it into a bottle of alcohol like bourbon or whiskey or vodka, and then that is going to turn into vanilla extract. So it's not going to go to waste. These will only last for about 3 days in the refrigerator, and what you can do if you feel like you're not going to drink it all in those 3 days, you can pour it into ice cube trays and freeze it, and then it's going to be a really great addition to your milkshake, or you can make like a frappuccino. We're going to make green juice, and green juice is another wonderful thing to add to your diet, and I've brought 2 experts to help me out with this. So these boys have actually been drinking green juice since they were little babies, and in their little baby bottle, and ever since that's what they're made of, right? Yeah. So you guys want to get started? Yeah, cut that. Okay, so we've got 2 different kinds of juicers, and so one juicer is a slow press juicer, and the slow press juicer is really good for leafy greens and spinach, kale, parsley, and so this one is called Omega, and it's really easy to clean, so that's why I like this one. And when it's a slow press juicer, it means that it's gonna retain more nutrition as compared to this juicer, which is a centrifugal juicer. So the centrifugal juicer will damage a little bit more of the enzymes, but it's quite a lot cheaper, and this one is really good for juicing things like apples and cucumbers. Not the best for leafy greens, so when you're choosing a juicer, just think about what you're going to be juicing the most. And they say also when you're using a slow press juicer that the enzymes will be intact for about 72 hours after you juice, so you could keep the juice in the fridge and drink it later. And the other thing is that this one is quite quiet, whereas this one is louder. Okay, you ready? Set this one up. It's okay, honey, you can keep the seeds, no problem, yeah. Don't need to. Sorry?
Smaller?
No? They can be big. Look, they can be really big. They can even be big like that. Shall we try a whole one? Try putting a whole one, honey. I think it's better to cut it. Let's do this now. Now we're going to use this one.
Can I put down?
Mm-hmm. So if you want to strain the juice, that's optional. My kids like it strained though. Okay, we're going to add 1 tablespoon of lime juice. Like that. You can dip that in. Cheers. Do you like it? Do you guys know why it's so good to drink green juice?
Because it has calcium and vitamins. And
Yes, that's right.
Trace minerals and alkaline.
It's alkalizing. Yeah, exactly. And you know, if your body is alkalized, that means that viruses and pathogens, they don't like to live there. So your body is not a nice house for the viruses. And also, when you get this kind of calcium, that's the kind of calcium that your body can absorb and use. And you know what calcium does? It makes your bones strong. In the next episode, I'm going to show you how you can plan your meals for the week so that you can easily incorporate salads into your daily routine.